Here we go then. Same place I left it last night, thankfully. All appears good. I was a bit worried that this old wall might fall down onto it. Got lucky there, I think. Right, okay. Let's get packed and on our way. Good morning from the town of Rabat and the city of Mdina. They're kind of joined together behind me. I'm going to be visiting both of those places today and exploring a little bit. And right here, just outside where I've parked the car, is this incredible building with some steps up to it. So I think I'm going to take a walk up and do a little bit of sightseeing here first of all. There's a sign saying 1696, so a pretty old building. Pretty spectacular place, and I'm looking forward to, a bit rickety, should be all right. I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of exploring here. Rabat, which is where I'm heading to first. Let's climb over. Rabat is Semitic for suburbs, and that's because it was the suburb area of the former capital, I believe, Mdina, which is a walled city. As I say, very spectacular. It was in Game of Thrones. I think this area has also been in some other movies like Munich, but it's full of history. So I'm going to take a walk up there now and, as I say, do a little bit of sightseeing, see what I can find. Just walking along some very picturesque, very small side alleys. And I was going to say before, I was talking about the town of Rabat and the fact that it came from the Semitic languages, the name itself. And that's because the Maltese language, which is one of two official languages here on the island, spoken by just under 500,000 people. The other official language is English, but the Maltese language is derived from a whole load of different languages: Italian, French, English, and Arabic. And the reason it's derived in part from Arabic is because the Arabs ruled here from the year 870. So they ruled from the 9th until the 13th century, and they left quite a mark on particularly names of places and streets on the island, but also many other influences as well. There we go. I'm heading towards the Catacombs underneath St Paul's Cathedral. Got ourselves a little traffic jam here. Someone not happy, they're being held up. I guess this happens a lot because the roads through the town here are so narrow. You can only fit one vehicle through at a time. And if you happen to be held up by a delivery, oh look, there's a sign on the front saying loading and unloading. So those people are going to be waiting a little bit, I think. Another alley there. It's a really nice place, I've got to say, I like it a lot. These buildings are really cool, how they kind of overhang the streets. This place is called the Barrel and Basket. Really unique way they've built the walls here. Look, stone mortar and these old wooden barrels, presumably beer barrels from times gone by. It's a dance club, I think. And lots of greenery lining the very, very tiny alleyways here. You can still hear those horns behind me of that truck trying to get, or those cars trying to get past the truck. Dead end there, so I'll go back. And so I think what I'm going to do now is, it's a bigger place than I thought actually. I just looked it up, and there's a population here of about 12,000, although most of them don't live in the oldest part of the town, which is the part that I'm in. I'm going to head now to St Paul's and see if I can get a ticket to go down into the Catacombs. So I'm now in the grounds of the Catacombs. They are just below me. I've bought a ticket for €5 to go down. That's a really good price, I thought. And there is a museum, an info point set up, so it tells you all about what happened here. And the history is vast. And there is, as you can imagine, a lot of it. But essentially this area started as a quarry in the late Phoenician and early Roman periods. So we're talking about 2,500 years ago. And during that period, the rocks and stones were actually used in the city of Melite, which is now the city of Mdina. So most of that city was built from rocks and stones that were dug up from here. After that period, the Romans ruled this land, and they essentially started building the catacombs and the underground tunnels in the most extravagant of manners for that time period as a cemetery, so they could basically bury their dead here in the catacombs of St. Paul. Another little bit of information is that St. Paul was actually shipwrecked on the island in 60 CE. He used St. Paul's as a refuge during the 3 months he was here on the island. So that Roman cemetery, there's the rules and instructions for it. Let's go down and have a look. So this was built and used between about 300 BCE to about the 3rd century CE. Okay, wow. First thing is, it's a lot cooler down here, which is all good. But the history is just phenomenal when you think about it, that these were being built by or dug out by Romans thousands of years ago. It just blows my mind actually to think about that. So I believe when these tunnels and catacombs were excavated in the last century or two, they found very little down here that was of any value, because all of the tombs had already been looted. This looks like a burial chamber right here. So remember, the whole thing was used as a cemetery, so they would bury somebody in here and usually put with them some of their belongings, some of their valuables, I would imagine, especially if that person was important. These access ways are getting narrower and smaller. I've got to somehow get through that now. Not the easiest thing to do when you've got a big rucksack on. Turns out there are over 20 access points into the catacombs at different locations. This is another one of them. A lot of them are closed actually, but this is another one, another very small one actually. Just go down and have a look. Wow. This camera picks up the scene better than my eyes do. It is pretty dark down here. Okay, and then back up again. The Grotto Tavern. Selling point is you can dine in their 2,000-year-old cave. As I walk past St. Paul's, I'm now heading towards Mdina, the former capital of the country, I think when the Romans ruled here. So just walking through a little park area, really pretty. A little bit of shade from the heat today. And then up ahead you can see just through these trees is the city walls of Mdina. And the city walls are huge. They've got to be 30-40 feet high. And in front of them, between me and the walls themselves, is formerly a moat. So there was no way of getting in unless you were prepared to swim it, I guess. It is now a park. There's no water in there anymore. Look at that. Okay, let's see if we can find an entrance. So if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, probably recognise this gate as the gate to the King's Landing. But it is actually the gate to the old city. A city that was built by the Phoenicians about 4,000 years ago. Incredible as it sounds. I'm going to head inside and have a look around. I'm told there is an incredible view at the other side of the old city, pretty much because it's built, the whole thing is built right on top of high ground, and there are views all around the island of Malta from the top here. It's perched very nicely and it is very, very busy in here. Not many cars, only residents are allowed their cars in. There's about 250 residents. And the old city is about 1 square kilometre or just under. Let's go and have a look around. This is another St Paul's, this time inside the fortified city. This one actually is a cathedral though. I think the last one in Rabat was just a church. The cannons outside here all set up to defend the place. Let's see if I can get a little bit of video inside. I think that's the exit there. Not sure how you get in, even if you can, it might just be for people that are practicing their religion today. The cathedral museum over there, and it looks like you have to buy tickets to get inside. We'll just see how much it is. Opening hours Monday to Saturday, ticket price 10 euros. I think I'll give it a pass and continue onwards. So as I said earlier, this city was built originally by the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians were a group of people that lived in modern day Syria, Lebanon and northern Israel, and they were very advanced for their time. They began building city-states here around the Mediterranean Sea in around about the year 3200 BCE, and they thrived in this area between 1500 and 300 BCE. And they were particularly well known for their maritime skills, building ships and developing trading posts and harbours in this region. I'm going to finish up the video here. Thanks for watching. Just around the corner is the incredible views afforded to us by the very top of the defensive walls. The place that you can literally look out and see over the centuries and millennia your enemies coming, and be able to defend accordingly based on what you see.